Let's work through this problem methodically. The individuals here are college students, and what we have is sample data as part of an observational study. We know it's an observational study because the students agree to participate, but beyond that, nothing is imposed on when and how to use the internet in their classroom. This is entirely of their own accord. The variable or variables studied are, first of all, the time spent using the internet during class time, a quantitative variable, and the students' score on the final exam, also a quantitative variable. We know that a regression analysis is performed, and the value cited here is the correlation coefficient R, which is equal to negative 0.25 in this case. By the way, we can deduce then that R square, the square of negative 0.25 is 0.0625, so that's about 6%. And R square tells us what fraction of the variation in the response variable can be explained by the model, in this case a linear pattern as a function of the explanatory variable. So about 6% of this variability from student to student in final exam score can be accounted for by the linear model as a function of the time spent in class on the internet. Now, what can be concluded from those findings? It is a fact that the study found a pattern of association, a linear association between time spent on the internet and score on the final exam. However, because this is an observational study, the time spent on the internet in class is confounded with many other variables, including in particular the reasons for spending time on the internet. And because of that, we cannot reasonably conclude that it is the time spent on the internet that is the cause for the higher or lower score on the final exam. For instance, it could very well be that students who are already struggling with the course material try to find some help on the internet, looking up class notes, looking up definitions, or perhaps they are not interested and they just give up and do something else. But it's not because they're on the internet, it's because they're already not interested or not invested in the class that they are not performing well on the final. Now, it's important to understand here that the reason we cannot have a causal conclusion based on this study is not because the association was weak. Even if the association had been very strong, we would still not be able to reach a causal conclusion because of the nature of the data collection. The original scientific publication, the peer-reviewed publication, just says logged in and zoned out, how laptop internet use relates to classroom learning. It clearly describes a pattern of relationship, which is factually correct. On the other hand, the publication that is aimed at a wider audience in the digital journal, that one says internet use in class leads to lower test scores, and leads to implies a cause and effect. On top of that, the individuals studied are college students, not school-aged children. So on both counts, this is an inappropriate conclusion